I went to the opening day of Legoland Windsor's 2025 Christmas event and I had a disappointing day. So I just want to talk about it a little bit here, say what I think wasn't the best and what they did do well. Because there was some stuff, but in general, yeah, left a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth this year. For context, when I was growing up, Legoland wasn't open for Christmas at all. I've been going to Legoland my whole life. When we were younger, my dad had London Zoo annual passes, so we'd go there one Saturday, and then the Saturday after we'd go to Legoland because we had Legoland annual passes back before Merlin owned the Lego parks. So I've been going my whole life, love Legoland, and a few years ago they started this Christmas event, and it was really strong in its first year. When I went, I thought it was an amazing time. I was really surprised how many decorations they put out, all the trees, all the like snow kind of spray canning they'd done on all their decorations and wreaths and garlands, and that it was a pretty good sort of almost full ride offering. But this year I cannot say the same, unfortunately. So I think the best way to approach the video would be me starting from the beginning, quite literally as it's called at Legoland. That's the area at the start of the park, talking about all the Christmassy stuff I saw, and the Christmassy stuff I didn't see. Where's this Christmassy stuff? We're meant to be at a Christmas event. Originally walking in, they had a Lego Santa figure which they built, which looked pretty good. I was like, this is a good start to the event here. And then walking through the turnstiles, they sort of had Christmassy music being played throughout the area around there, and you had this big Lego Christmas tree, which was very impressive. I don't think that was there when I first went to the first one like 4 or 5 years ago. I think that's a newer edition. I don't think it was new for this year necessarily, because I think back then like the tree they had was the dragon Christmas tree, which I'll show later in the video when we get to that area of the park. But yeah, that was incredibly impressive to see, and they put little lights in the trees around there because obviously all the leaves have fallen off, so you could see all the nice lights which they'd sprinkled around the trees at the beginning area of the park. So yeah, it was a good start. I thought, oh, this is quite pleasant. Also in that area you had this like LED lit photo opportunity kind of thing. I'll show the footage so you can see what I mean exactly, which I also thought, yeah, that's nice, another Christmas opportunity photo op. And then they also had some food stalls. I think these food trucks are maybe there all year round, but it's one of those I don't usually notice or pay attention to, but they'd like renamed them to have Christmassy names. And the offerings themselves were, I presume, more Christmassy than usual from the menu I saw, but yeah, pretty expensive as you'd expect from the Aramark era of Merlin catering, or the lack thereof of actual Merlin catering since Aramark, this external company, came in. So then I started walking down the hill, and I saw a Christmas pudding on the Easter Island figures. So, oh, that's a nice little touch. And then as I went around the park throughout the day, I saw there were more of these Christmas puddings, which they just kind of put next to pre-existing figures. So originally I was like, oh, that's just a nice cute thing, but then I was like, whoa, these are all sort of copy pasted. Maybe we could have done a few different types of Christmassy decorations around the park other than just this Christmas pudding one, as in little additions. The same being said for these little Christmas elves. The first one I saw on the hill, also I was like, oh, that's cool that they've put that in. But by the end I was like, yeah, again, we've had a few of these dotted around the park. It'd be nice if there was a bit more diversity in the types of figures, like the Christmassy figures they'd put around the park. But yeah, I did not know this at this point when I was walking down the hill, so I was still in like, this feels quite cool that they've put in some effort here this year. But also you had these cardboard cutouts, which they do for some of the events. These look naff. I don't know why they do them. I would rather have nothing at all than these naff ones. And also, as you were coming down the hill, you had an actual Lego elf figure like right next to where this cardboard cutout of the elf and some other like Christmassy type characters were. And I thought, well, we know you can do it then. We can see you can build proper Lego figures, so why bother putting in these cardboard cutouts? As I said, I'd rather you didn't bother with that and just put in a few more, as I said, different types of Lego figures as opposed to just having the elf. Also, this fox is definitely newer. I don't know if it's new for this season in general or just Christmas. Yeah, I think it might be Christmas, but I may be completely wrong, so please do not quote me on that. If so, I apologise. So if that is a new figure, then props for that, but in general, yeah, weren't many actual Lego Christmas figures beyond these elves, which were kind of copy and pasted across the park. So then I got into Miniland, which had a photo op, sort of just a kind of canvas sheet, which a family could, you know, step in front of, take a photo. Yeah, fine, whatever. Nice to have those photo ops. Obviously it's not really for me as I was solo visiting. But also they had another copy and pasted one next to the Legoland Express. Like, I'm pretty sure they were the exact same. I'll know now I'm editing this video watching it back, like, oh, they were or they weren't. But you'll see for yourself in the footage whether or not they were the exact same. I think they looked like they were, or if so, very similar, which is essentially being the same at that point. So it would have been nice if you'd had, like, why didn't we have like a Lego log fire maybe in one of them, and you could pretend you're, you know, cozy little family in your scarves and stuff. And then on the other one had the white sort of Christmas background. So yeah, again, just like a cheap thing they could have done that wouldn't mean too expensive, rather than copy and pasting the exact same photo op. So yeah. So in Miniland itself, they had Santa being pulled by his reindeers right next to Big Ben's clock face, which was a nice little touch, I thought. I liked that. Also a word on Miniland in general. Some of the newer London sets they've done, they've got a great lighting package on them. At the end of the day, I took the hill train back up to the top of the park. I sort of wished I'd walked up the hill instead, so I could have taken in and filmed some of the lighting packages which are now on these London sets, because they did look really good actually, from what I saw from the hill train. But yeah, at that point it was too dark for my camera to pick up while I was on the moving hill train, and I was sitting next to a family and I didn't want to kind of climb over them to get the shot because they were on that side of the hill train. So yeah. So in Miniland as well, you have the brick, which is where you can build some Lego figures. There's loads of sort of troughs of Lego bricks you can play with. They had a little Christmas decoration outside as well, which looked quite good. So as I said, at this point I was still like, okay, the only thing I'm not so sure about was those cardboard cutouts. Everything else feels quite Christmassy. I'm enjoying it so far. And also in the brick, they had this build to give sort of scheme going on, which I didn't look into it too deeply, but my understanding was you could sort of build some sort of Lego toy, and I'm guessing it was then gifted to those in need or those who needed it, or I don't know how exactly the system worked. Yeah, as a grown single man, I did not feel a desperate desire to go in there and start playing with the Lego bricks with all the kids. So I don't know exactly how the whole scheme was working for this build to give thing for Christmas, but yes, that's a nice thing. That's the spirit of Christmas after all, giving. So that was cool, and then I walked out of Miniland and walked into Duplo Land, or Duplo Valley. Inside Duplo Valley they had the Duplo Dino Coaster open. Yet again, did not ride the Duplo Dino Coaster. I am not the target demographic for that one. Next door they have the helicopters. Now those I actually might have ridden, because those were a bit of a childhood classic. But no, they were closed for maintenance. Why? I couldn't tell ya. That feels like a ride which surely doesn't need too much work done to it over the winter. I'm not too sure why that couldn't have waited, and they say these rides are closed for winter maintenance, but I'm not seeing any maintenance actively going on at the time. I think that was just a cutback thing so they didn't have to staff it, to be honest with you. Same goes for Fairy Tale Brook. If you've been watching the channel for a while, which there are maybe 5 of you, but if you're one of those 5, you'd have seen I love Fairy Tale Brook because I love my Disney theme parks. So I really love Fairy Tale Brook, going through all these sort of Disney, well, not just Disney, but fairy tale stories. But yeah, a lot of it takes inspiration from the Disney versions. Yeah, that was cool to see the trough empty. Also weird to see how thin the trough is. Yeah, that was actually quite a bizarre kind of, I don't know, optical illusion almost. I was like, wow, I wouldn't have thought the trough looked so skinny. It's, yeah, bizarre to think. But it's like track sometimes. Sometimes I look at roller coaster track and think, you know, you sort of see it, it's this optical illusion where it looks small, but then you think, hang on, like a B&M track has to fit 4 grown adults across it. If it's like a, I don't know, a sit-down coaster, one of their B&M like hyper coasters. So it's always weird seeing these rides and attractions without like their ride vehicles or the way they're meant to function. So that was kind of cool, I guess, to see that and see that, oh, actually this trough looks really skinny when you don't have the water in there and the people on there, I said. But yeah, in general though, I would much rather have had it open rather than being excited over seeing it closed. I would have much rather had a ride. I just don't understand how much maintenance there can be done there. Maybe you're worried that the water's gonna freeze over, but come on. I mean, it's so easy to maintain that ride, surely. It's just pumps. It's just water pumps pushing the boats along. I don't know why they couldn't have had that open, so yeah, that's a shame. Like, the pirate log flume, I understand, we'll get to that area later, but I understand why that was closed. Logistically, it's a bit of a soaker, you know, it was a really cold day. I don't think many people would have wanted to have ridden anyway. But Fairy Tale Brook, I don't see any reason why that couldn't have been open. They also had the Duplo train open though, in fairness to them. And yeah, the splash pad was closed. It was funny, like, I was walking along and a dad was like on the phone going, the splash pad's closed, I can't believe it, the kids are devastated. I was like, son, it's like 5 degrees. I don't think you needed to send your kids out in their swimming trunks playing in the splash pad, but each their own, I guess. Maybe the British public would have ridden the Pirates log flume if it had been open. Maybe we're hardy folk, we wouldn't have minded getting in the wet. Oh, also, as I've also said before in previous videos, I do not really care for Minifigure Speedway that much, as I don't love boomerangs, but that was closed. Why was it closed on the opening day? I've since found out that it's meant to be opening, I think from next week. But I mean, what? The average guest is actually paying full price still for that day. I doubt it was reduced price, so yeah, that's not the best. When that's, I guess, one of the signature attractions. Said it's not one of my favourites, but that is now more of a signature attraction at the park, and that was closed. So clearly not ready for this event to have started this weekend. Also on the Sunday, I went on the Saturday, that was the opening day. The Sunday the park was closed because it was a private hire. So I don't think that helped crowd-wise opening this weekend, because I guess everyone who was looking like, oh, should we go Saturday or Sunday? Oh, we can only go on the Saturday, that's the only day it's open, let's go there. So this event was much busier than it should have been, really, considering the very few rides they had open. But I'll get onto that more as we go around the park, and I'll talk about all the rides, or more of the rides, in a minute. So moving on from Duplo Valley, I got into Lego City. Lego City was a weird one, because I did actually like the fact that they had a Christmas radio going on, which was sort of a dedicated made Lego radio station. They were like, welcome to Lego Radio City FM or whatever, and it was all Christmas themed audios. Like the broadcaster would tell these like really bad Christmas jokes, like, oh, Joanne from wherever has written in and said, and you know, give these bad Christmas jokes, and they would then play actual Christmas pop songs or whatever. And I thought, yeah, this is actually quite good atmosphere going on here. But then they had absolutely no decorations at all anywhere to be seen. I remember when I did the event a few years ago, the pathway that connects Lego City to the Heart Lake area was like lined with all these Christmas trees, and they'd like put fake snow on the ground and put some figures around there. Yeah, none of that. Just a normal bog standard path, all gone. So I really don't know what happened, but it's not good. But yeah, speaking of Lego City in general, the driving school was open, so you know, obviously if you've got kids, that's good. But the boat school was closed. Yet again, kind of cool to see the empty trough, but I don't know why this wasn't open. Unfortunately, the not goodness continued when I got into the Heart Lake area. When I was a kid, during certain times of year and like events like the fireworks and stuff, they would put lights down the lighthouse, like drape them in a net of lights. None of that there. No decorations in general really around Heart Lake City. So yeah, that wasn't good. They did have this same photo op, which I told you about before, which was just, I believe, the same canvas which they had in Miniland. So yeah, wasn't impressed with Heart Lake City. Then going back on myself, going towards the hotels, Monster House Party closed. Why? Why is the Monster House Party closed? How easy would it have been to keep it open and call it the Monster House Christmas Party? Eh? Eh? And all you would have to have done is put some extra decorations on the table of the ride. In the, it's, for those who don't know, it's a Vekoma Madhouse. In the middle of the ride, between the 2 rows or the 4 rows, on that banquet table, you could have put Christmas decorations down. You could have had like a turkey, like a Lego turkey and stuff, instead of the usual feast sort of pieces they have on there. It would have been even better if they'd gone above and beyond and they'd changed the video in the pre-show as well, but I didn't even need them to do that. At the very least, have the ride open, full stop. But, you know, bare minimum overlay would have just been, as I said, putting some extra decorations on that table would have been so easy. But yeah, wasn't even open in the first place, so there you go. So then continuing down that path, Deep Sea Adventure was open. So there's that at least. I like Deep Sea Adventure, even though it's quite short. It's a cute little ride and nicer than just walking through a bog standard aquarium. That queue was pretty big all day. I'll now sort of touch a bit more on the queues in general. All the rides queues were a bit big all day because, as I said, I think the issue was compounded by the fact that there's a private hire the next day. So all the people who might have gone Sunday came on Saturday as well. Didn't help that the ride availability was not good at all, which meant that the queues which were open got very big queues. And the same is said for food outlets. I will get onto it later because I actually ended up eating there. But like the Pirate Burger Kitchen for like a good chunk of the day had an external queue line. I do not want to be waiting that long to then spend that much on the food at these parks. And then yeah, inevitably be disappointed with my experience anyway. But yeah, I'll get on to the Burger Kitchen later. But the point about that was, because the rides aren't open, people think, well, we've got to do something. We may as well get inside, you know, and go eat, you know, get cozy. And then it led to these queues being extrapolated for all the food outlets around the park, because there wasn't enough to do outside of buying food. And that's not what you should go to a theme park for. You've already paid entry. You should have stuff to do rather than pay more to eat food. You know, I'm meant to be having a nice day out, and the food is a supplement for the nice day out. So then I continued around the lake and ended up at the hotels. Outside the front of the main hotel, they had a Christmas tree, which looked quite nice. Not a Lego one, just a normal one. And then you had a barrier which had fallen over in the wind, and no member of staff had, I guess, seen yet. Which did not look good, and that barrier was up because you could not go through Mythica. So yeah, that area was completely closed, which also not good. Not good. Considering Flight of the Skyline is a pretty high capacity ride for UK theme park operations at least, and is indoors, warm, and is still a relatively new attraction. Why that area wasn't open, and in particular Skyline, even if they had opened the area and not opened Hydra's Challenge, which is a water ride, you know, I would have understood that at least, but not having the Skyline open was pretty criminal, to be honest with you. And those cute little drop towers. I do love those little zero drop towers. So then I realised I had to walk back on myself again, so I walked back to Heart Lake City and saw that Autumn's Riding Adventure was open, so I guess that's something, but I did not really want to do the spinning outdoor flat ride in the freezing cold. And also it was sort of raining intermittently throughout the day. I thought that's just going to be a bit of a miserable experience. Which yet again leads me to, why was this opened as a deemed more of a priority opening than one of the other dark rides? Because as I'm about to get onto, Laser Raiders was closed as well. So Laser Raiders, Monster House Party and Mythica, Skylines Mythica, all 3 dark rides, not all 3 in the park, but 3, you know, big dark rides at the park, all shut during a cold Christmas event. If you're telling me the reason you have stuff like Fairy Tale Brook and Coast Guard HQ and the Pirates Log Flume ride closed because they're, you know, water ride or water based, and I don't know, you're worried the water's going to freeze over, then if you care so much about temperature and making sure that only rides which make sense opening temperature wise are open, then why wouldn't you open the dark rides which are indoors, and why would you not have that as a priority? I just made so little sense to me. Also, a quick one before we go on to the Ninjago area, speaking about the lighthouse and no lights on it, why in general as well was there not a show on the lake? I mean, that is one of our better show venues in this country. I mean, we don't have many to begin with. Would have been pretty easy to bring some characters out there, have a cute little Christmas show. Not sure why that didn't happen. So then crossing the path from Heart Lake City to the Ninjago area, yet again, I seem to remember there being loads of trees. I remember there were like decorations and almost like garlands, wreaths, trees everywhere around here when I last went a few years ago. Even on this bridge I seem to remember, which is why I took that shot of it to remind myself to say that on camera. But yeah, nothing there again. And then went into the Ninjago area, where in fairness there were some lights draping the Ninjago show building. Ninjago was open. I think it's the worst of all the dark rides at the park, and yet they decided to open that one in particular. Don't know why. Why that was chosen as the one which people need open. But yeah, in general, I will say it looked pretty nice at night when I walked by on my way out of the park. But that also reminds me, why is this event open 10 till 5? It's a Christmas event. The whole point of Christmas events are to see pretty lights and get cozy under the stars, have a hot cocoa, you know, in the dark, in the cold. The event finishes at 5, so you have like half an hour of night rides. I don't know, I mean, maybe more like 45 minutes if you're lucky, maybe, the closer we get to Christmas. Yeah, not good. I mean, maybe it makes sense now. Now I've seen they've got no lights or good decorations. Anyway, so then I walked into the Pirates area of the park. They had put up some new festoon lighting around, which were just generic bulbs. These in general look okay, but they weren't particularly Christmassy. They were just good lighting, which they've installed that the park probably should have always had. More sort of permanent night lighting. I don't know if they're going to get taken back down or not after the event, but yeah, it was good to have. But yeah, again, I wouldn't say it was like screaming Christmas. They're the same types of festoons you see on the Alton Towers pathways, between like Gloomy Wood and the Nemesis area, Forbidden Valley. In this area, the pirate ship, the Jolly Rocker, or is it Roger? Jolly Rocker, Jolly Rocker, was closed. Yet again, from a theme park enthusiast point of view, was kind of cool to see it without its support structure, but not good to see that a ride was closed again. At least this time you could see that maintenance work had been done, as opposed to those like the rides, the pirate ride, which I also saw, which was cool to see just with the trough. like, I don't think active maintenance is happening here. Same with Fairy Tale Brook. But at least with the Jolly Rocker, you could see, okay, well, this ride is actually undergoing some work. They've already taken down the support structure, even if we're not actively seeing it. It's not like there were men working away, workmen working away, or workwomen, or workwomen. Anyway, so then we come to the Christmas Kingdom. There were signs advertising this around the park. I just assumed that meant, okay, so this is where they're going to put all the budget. Like, we're going to see all the Christmas trees, all the decorations. They're going to completely decked out like the Knight's Kingdom of the park, right? So I was like, exciting, amazing, brilliant. Turns out Christmas Kingdom just refers to what they've done for like the Santa meet and greet. I'm not sure exactly what is inside there because it was a £22 upcharge with annual pass discount. And also I did not feel like sitting on Santa's lap this year. So I did not go in, and I think even if I brought my kids, I probably wouldn't have spent 22 quid to go in there. And if in there is more Christmas decorations, I think it's pretty sick that Merlin had put them behind a paywall and that all their proper decorations are behind a £22 paywall after you've already paid for admission, if you're a day guest, or you've already made the effort to come out. And also, we say, like I say, oh, you paid for admission, as opposed to us annual passes who haven't. I, as an annual pass holder, have paid admission. I paid my 300 quid when I got my platinum pass. I should still be entitled to see what the Christmassy stuff at this Christmas event. So yeah, I cannot speak for exactly what is inside there. But I think if I had, say, 3 or 4 kids, I would be dropping, what, 100 quid to go in there behind the admission in the first place. Insane, insane. And as I said, that was annual pass price. That was with the discount as an annual pass holder, 22 quid. Crazy. But yeah, that's all hidden behind where the Pirates queue line usually is. They had like a few garlands around the outside of it, as in like it was all behind black curtains, and because again, they don't want you to see any of that Christmas stuff unless you pay your 22 quid. And then they had some deer figures, or reindeer figures, outside the entrance to the Knight's Kingdom, which was cool. I'm glad they had those. That was nice to see. But yeah, nothing particularly meaningful in the way of it being a Christmas Kingdom for the general public. Well, not, general day guests. It's only really a Christmas Kingdom if you pay that extra 22 quid as an annual pass holder. I don't know if it was 20% discount, maybe it's usually 25 or around there without the annual pass discount. Not sure exactly. At this point in the day, I tried to do the dragon. I did not do the dragon at this point in the day because the queue was very, very big. Because, as I've said, there was not much to do. But I heard it was an ice dragon, a Christmas overlay, so I was excited to see it. So stay tuned for my review at the end of the day that's coming up when I went back for a night ride. They also had Merlin's Challenge open, the little flat ride. I then did my first ride of the day, which was Spinning Spider, because there wasn't much else to do. So I did Spinning Spider. Yeah, at least there was a bit of life in this area. Shame that the Jolly Rocker wasn't open in the Pirates areas in that sort of segment of the park. But yeah, at least all the Knight's Kingdom rides were open. Dragon's Apprentice was open as well. In fairness, Christmas entertainment wise, there was something going on here. Some Nutcracker marching band came out, and it was pretty good actually. I was impressed that it was actually live music being played by the musicians there, so that was cool. So I will give them that. But the castle in general, no decorations on it. Why also do we not have the dragon tree in Knight's Kingdom's courtyard as opposed to next to the Pirates log flume? You have a dragon tree. You have a dragon area. Yeah, also the banners outside the castle, no signs on them. No nice banners, no nice, Happy Christmas, or like wishing you a wintry medieval Christmas or something themed. None of that. So great, really great. Also in Knight's Kingdom, in their sort of sweet treat parlour, kind of restaurant kiosk, little restaurant hole in the castle, they were doing elf shakes, but they look like pretty ordinary shakes to me. Looking at the flavours there, I don't see what's incredibly Christmassy about them, in my humble opinion. So yeah, that was sort of an initial lap of the park. Then I was kind of just moving around to see if any of the queue lines would go down at all. Then I eventually decided they're not going to go down until maybe the last hour or so. So I decided to watch the Christmas show, which was on the mini stage, because, as I said, for some reason they didn't want to put one on the actual Heart Lake City stage. So it was about an elf kind of toy shop workshop. They wanted the audience to help them build, great gifts or whatever. So they came out, kind of 2 actors without a costume and then one in an elf costume. As in, when I say costume, I mean the kind of minifigure costumes. Then they got everyone to make a single file line and one by one put a Lego brick on this master build board. I obviously did not participate because I did not need to. It was for the kids. But I gotta say, that is boring. I mean, if you're gonna be in the cold, in the rain, just in a single file queue line waiting to put a brick on this master billboard, and it was going on for a while, I was like, oh. And if I was a kid, I would not enjoy that. I don't think there's anything fun about that. Yeah, especially when right next door there is a warm house dedicated for it, warm building, the brick, where you can build as much Lego as you want. I didn't get it. I did not get that show at all. So yeah, they have another show on there, on that stage, called Festival of Flurries or something like that, which is on at 4:30. I don't know what that was like, because that was the only time it's on during the day, and at that point it was time for my night rides on the Dragon. But that elf show plays like 3 or 4 times a day. Also, in general, the park was beginning to quiet out around 4, so why is there a unique different show on at 4:30? Also, I was definitely leaning more towards doing the Dragon night rides than doing another show on that stage, because in general there is a bit of AstroTurf by the stage itself, but it's also just surrounded by sodden grass. So really is not the most fun show venue to be hanging out at. So I've mentioned the big queues for any food offerings you wanted to experience. And Pirate Burger Kitchen, as I said, had an external queue for like a good portion of the day. In the afternoon it finally quieted out a bit. I looked at the menus on the electronic screens. I saw they had a festive menu. I'm not the biggest fan of stuffing, and the thought of having an Aramark cranberry mayo burger made me feel a bit ill. So I decided not to go for that, and I thought I would go for the other festive option, which was a kids meal, macaroni cheese bites. I don't know what exactly is Christmassy about macaroni cheese bites, and it's not like they had food dyed them, like, you know, the bites themselves, the breadcrumbing was, I don't know, red and green for the Christmas kind of colour scheme. But there you go. That was for some reason a festive treat. I only had like 5 or 6 people in front of me. So I'm at the electronic screen, and then I realised yet again, I still haven't worked out how annual pass holders can apply their discount on these screens. So then annual pass holders have to queue up at the tills themselves. So even though the queue did not look that big, for some reason it still took me about 25 to 30 minutes to order, which was great. And then another 10-15 minutes to get my food. I then get the food, go sit down, and like, the place is really gross. There's just food scattered all over the floor, because obviously it's been such a busy day for them, because everyone was getting in there because there was not much else to do. And in fairness, you know, it had been raining a bit, so more people were more likely to try and eat inside as opposed to buying outside. With that being said, even the outside kiosks still had big queues all day. It was just pretty grim in there, and there weren't enough staff to be like maintaining the cleanliness of the food hall. As for the food itself, It was £9 without annual pass discount for this kids meal, which is too expensive for a kids meal, let's be honest, when a Happy Meal is what, £3 at McDonald's. But I will say the chip portion was very big. You got a decent amount of macaroni cheese bites, and they gave me a large drink cup because I think they had like run out of medium drink cups. I would be very annoyed if I had paid extra for a large meal as an adult or whatever. I don't know if you can go large on a kid's meal. I think it's just adult meals. You pay that extra £1 just for everyone to get a like big portion of fries and a large cup. Obviously, like, was good for me because I got lucky, but if you're on the wrong end of that, that's not great. But the drink itself was so flat. I don't know what was going. It was. I don't mind a flat Coke, but my goodness, that was like incredibly just. Yeah, not a single bubble in that Coke was not good. As for the festive macaroni cheese bites themselves, they were okay. But I don't know, they were almost like a bit too intense. Like I felt a bit ill towards the end. I didn't even finish all of them. I think I left one in the end because I was like, I don't think I can have any more of this. Like I wouldn't go as far to say bad, but not good. Just kind of very standard affair. As I said, it was almost like, yeah, just too intense. I don't really know how to, usually I think I'm pretty good at these food reviews, but there was just something weird about them I can't quite put my finger on this time. But I will say, in fairness, the chips were fine. You know, they didn't blow my mind, but they filled the hole. It was cold outside. They were pretty warm, I think. So yeah, they were fine. Also, I'd like to point out how ridiculously expensive the burger option was. Yeah, already I wasn't sold on cranberry mayo, but then when I saw the price tag, I was like, no thank you, I'm not interested. Another thing about it, no themed boxes, no Christmassy, like little kind of, it'd be nice if they come in, your food would come in a little kind of cardboard box, which sort of said Merry Christmas or whatever, and was like, I don't know, like the printing on the cardboard itself looked like a little present, I don't know, something like that, right? I think at this point in the day I go back to do Deep Sea Adventure because yeah, the queue had petered off a bit, but throughout the day it was pretty busy, so I didn't touch it for a while. But yeah, enjoyed it, no Christmassy sort of extra stuff. This is what I don't get about the event. If the ride availability had been as low and small as it was, but you had been able, if like they had made a very conscious effort to deck out every pathway that was open. Say you don't open the Mythica area, say you don't open the Heart Lake area for whatever reason, right? And you just say it's Lego City, the Forbidden Kingdom sort of area where the Laser Raiders is. I don't think it's his actual name because Forbidden Kingdom's Chessington's area's name. And like the Knight's Kingdom, and Pirates, but you just deck it all out to the nines, and like the rides you do have open, you make the conscious effort of having actually like some sort of meaningful Christmas overlay on them. Maybe not all of them, but like a good 50% of them. I wouldn't have minded that, like as I gave a suggestion of the Monster House Party, but no, there was nothing particularly Christmassy about what was open. Even just like putting wreaths and garlands around queue lines and stuff, but no, not even that. But yeah, no meaningful overlays, and that continued when at the end of the night I managed to get 2 rides in on the Dragon in the last half an hour of the day, because people had started heading home at this point, and they called it the Ice Dragon supposedly on the map. It didn't say the Ice Dragon on the entrance of the ride, which already to me signals this is not going to be a very impressive overlay. My understanding was it was some extra lighting, like blue lighting in the station, and maybe some music change. I didn't even notice the music change. On the ride itself, everything was absolutely the same. How easy could it have been to put some like garlands, wreaths, as I suggested in Monster House Party, change the feast table to be more of a actual Christmas feast and more Christmas decorations in that banquet hall in the dark ride section of the ride, or in the outdoor portion of the ride you could have had some like snowman figures and stuff. I don't know, I mean, you know, in the middle of the helixes to look at, but no, none of that. I will say also, they did have some figures which I believe are reused. I think I've seen them before at some point, maybe at the Christmas event a few years ago, sort of near this mini stage, which connects the mini stage to where the hill train is. In Lego City, the Fire Academy was also closed, don't know why, and then the balloon school was open, which was good, you know, good to have. But yet again, I'm just like, how was this like a priority staffing wise? Why did we think, yes, let's get a staff member for this ride, but not get, you know, a few staff members for Monster House Party or Laser Raiders? I don't get it. And it's not even me saying like, oh, well, it's because we should just have rides the whole family can enjoy rather than rides which are directed purely at kids. Like, I think Balloon School is just as family friendly as Laser Raiders, but it's just a sort of less impressive ride. Why wouldn't you have, if you're gonna spend the staff, then it makes sense to, and like only have a limited offering, then why not choose the rides which have more sort of pulling power with guests? Yes, I know Laser Raiders, as an example, would have more staff members to run than it takes for the Balloon School, but I just mean, you know, if you're halfway there, I don't know, maybe it takes 3-4 members of staff for Laser Raiders, then why not? Oh, speaking of which, they have a staff member in Laser Raiders, because when I did Legoland Express, they have to be on the gate, because the train goes through the Laser Raider queue line. So you already had a staff member. I mean, I don't know if she's technically part of the trains team when that ride's running, or if she's part. No, she must be part of the Laser Raider team, because she's at the batch point usually, whoever that member of staff would be for Laser Raiders. So you're already halfway there. I don't know. I don't know. Talking about Legoland Express, I did get a ride on there. Supposedly the ride closes at dusk, despite the fact they put like nice new festoons on in there. These were installed earlier this year inside the station, and the lighting packages around the ride actually looked pretty good. The themed coloured lighting they had lighting up the new props they put in for the redo they did earlier this year. So I'm a bit confused why there's a sign saying it closes at dusk. If that's the case, I wasn't in that area once like it had gone properly dark around like 4ish, half 4ish. If that was the case and that ride does close around that time, then why did they put all this extra money and attention into putting all these figures with nice lighting and festoons? Yeah, I mean, look, it still looked good. I'm glad they did it. You know, in an ideal world, you know, we'd have more night rides in the UK, and all our rides would be lit up well, so that they'd be better prepared for longer opening hours. But we don't have longer opening hours. As I said, I thought this event originally should have been 12 till 7. I then realised during the event, oh, the reason this event is 10 till 5 is because the park does not look that much different at night. There are only very key areas which look different, and even like the lighting which was there, that was just like normal lighting they had. There was not added for Christmas. That was just the lighting packages that the park has. As I said, it was just mainly those festoons in Pirates Landing that I sort of noticed as newer lighting. The only other ride I did was Aero Nomad, the Ferris wheel. I got talking to a family on there because apparently it's no single riders allowed. Why is it no single riders allowed? We don't know. Logistically, you don't really understand why that would be the case. I even said, like, look, I don't want to interrupt your family day out. Like, I don't need to do the ride. And they're like, no, don't be silly. Like, join us. Like, the member of staff said, do you mind if he sits with you? And they're like, no, yeah. So anyway, they were a very nice family. I was talking to them throughout the ride. They were staying in the hotel. They said the hotel was lovely, which I do agree. I've stayed at the hotel, and the hotel... all the Merlin hotels are always lovely because that's where they know they can make quite a lot of money, so they want to make sure that those are up to scratch. I did hear though, interestingly, they were at the Castles Hotel and they had a PlayStation 4 in all the rooms. The PlayStation 4s only have demos of games on. They don't have actually fully installed games, which his kids were really upset about. Or their kids were really upset about, I should say. But it was the dad telling me that. And then they were saying though in general they had a good time, but it was their first ever time at Legoland in general, so they were just excited to see Legoland. The one thing they said to me they really didn't like was the fact that so much was closed. They were like, oh, every ride we've tried to go to, we've closed. Obviously, they probably didn't know that there would be a limited ride availability. I obviously went into it knowing some stuff would be closed. I was surprised how much ended up being closed. But as like a normal member of the public who doesn't go to theme parks that much, I understand why it would have been a bit of a shock how much was closed. But they said they had a good time. But I think that was more because they'd just never been to Legoland in general. But yeah, so the other thing they said was, where's all the Christmas stuff? Like, we're at a Christmas wonderland, we don't understand why there's no Christmas decorations. And I was like, you're telling me. And obviously because they're at the hotel, when you drive up to the hotel, you park down there. So there's no real reason to go up to the top of the hill to where the entrance of the park is for day guests, unless you want to go to the big shop. So I doubt they'd gone up there to see like the big Christmas tree, which as I said was the most impressive part of my day, was coming on to that opening beginning area where there were some lights and those decorations. So yeah, it just shows you it wasn't just me going mental. The general public as well were very confused as to why this was a Christmas event, and yet it did not feel particularly Christmassy. So anyway, speaking of the beginning, after my night rides on the Dragon, I headed back to the top of the park on the hill train, and you know, I will say it, I think that tree looks great, that Lego one they made. It has a great lighting package on there as well at night, and it was just very cutesy and wholesome hanging out on that plaza area for a little bit at the beginning. With the lights in the other trees as well, the lighting package on that tree, you sort of had sort of classic Christmas music playing. So that was a really good vibe, in complete fairness. And also on the entrance portal they built for this year, they put sort of a lighting package on there. So I will give them that. I was impressed by that beginning area. It's just a shame it was quite literally all downhill from there. It's a geography joke. It's a geography joke about the park. Anyway, I won't moan and drone on any longer. That was my sort of full day at Legoland. I was, yeah, not particularly impressed, to be completely honest with you. Was it nice being at Legoland in general? Yes, I like Legoland. Is it good to have some rides open over winter when, you know, back in ye olden days, when I was growing up, you wouldn't really see any Christmas event at all at the Berlin parks? Yes, also good to see. But I just think it's a shadow of what it was when I went a few years ago. I was really disappointed with the lack of decorations, the ride offering not being as good as I thought it would be, hoped it would be. As I said, I wasn't expecting everything to be open, I'm not crazy, but just some of those dark rides, like how can you have 3 of your major dark rides closed in a winter event? Just makes no sense. That's the reason parks build dark rides. That's the reason, you know, like Disneyland Paris went so heavy on inside dark rides so that it would be able to operate 365 when they built that place. If you have dark rides, use them for Christmas. They're inside, they're warm. It's still weird to me. And also on the rides that were open, no meaningful overlays, as I've said. So yeah, in general, would I recommend the event? No. I wouldn't have recommended the event. If you have nothing to do on a Saturday this Christmas and you're a Merlin annual pass holder, if you're a day guest, I wouldn't go, to be paying you know, a hefty sum for that lack of ride availability and poor decorations. If you're an annual pass holder and you just want to go to a park because you want to get that theme park hit, then, you know, you may as well turn up. But if you're expecting a Christmas event, would I recommend a Christmas event? I would not recommend this as a Christmas event to do with your family. No, definitely not. Save your pennies and go elsewhere. That's all I really have to say on that one, unfortunately. As I said, if you need a theme park hit, I live incredibly close to Legoland. Will I go again before Christmas? Maybe. If like a friend says, you know, a friend of mine from when I worked at Chessington goes, I want a theme park hit, what's open near us, you know, so we may as well go down the road, you know, 10-15 minutes and go to Legoland. But no, I wouldn't recommend it if you were a day guest. Or even if you're an annual pass holder who has to go out of their way, like you're driving down from the north or something, I wouldn't recommend it either. So yeah, sorry it's not been the most positive video. Usually I'm quite a happy chappy in my vlogs, but yeah, it was not the best, I'll be completely honest with you. But yeah, that's my review. Sorry it was not the most positive in general. I like to be a happy chappy in my theme park vlogs, so if you want to watch happier kind of stuff, then check out some of those. I went to Tivoli Gardens recently, which set the standard to a whole new level. We were there for their opening weekend of their Christmas event. That was insanely good. So if you want to watch a good Christmas event, check out that vlog. In general, lots more theme park vlogs to come, and theme park content. I love Disney as well, hence Disney theme park posters. So we're releasing some Disney film analysis at the moment, because I love my film too. But if you're just into the theme parks, that's okay. You can just stick around for that. We will be going to Winter's Tale in the near future at Chessington, so hopefully their event will be a bit better. I'll do a review like this from there. And hopefully going to sneak a Disneyland Paris Christmas trip while I've got the annual pass as well. Would be good. So yeah, if any of that interests you, please subscribe. I hope you've enjoyed watching, and Merry Christmas.